Hey guys, welcome back. I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle, and welcome to the Music Business Podcast, where you learn how to build your music business, get your career to six figures and beyond, and stay legally protected. How you guys doing? So, we have a lot of things we're covering tonight in exposing the music business, which is now my new favorite thing. And that's basically what I do. It's at every level of the music business. We're talking about managers and record labels and publishers and artists and everyone in between. And there's things happening. And we need to know about it so that we can protect ourselves, strategize, and be able to really master our careers, our businesses, all the things. So, hello in the chat as you guys are filing in. Let me know where you checking in from. What time is it? Hey, hey. Good to see everyone. So, word to the wise, if you are a producer, an artist, doing all the things, uh, make sure that if your girlfriend records a little something for you on her phone and sends it to you, and then you use it in your song, make sure you have a written agreement saying you can use that. Bad Bunny didn't do it. Bad Bunny is now getting sued for some $40 million, I believe. So, in our new segment tonight, we are going to be talking about a couple of things, including the lawsuit that was filed against Bad Bunny. I always go in and kind of like listen to, music from the different artists that we're going to cover on our shows. And obviously, I'm familiar with Bad Bunny, but as I'm kind of checking out and seeing what he's up to, I mean, this guy is an international smash hit. And in fact, two of the songs that really did well for him, mainstream, all that stuff, includes this sample that his girlfriend sent to him. Well, now ex-girlfriend, right? We saw that one coming. But in any case, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the likelihood that he's going to win or lose and what's going on. All right. So, before I kind of get into some of the other stuff that we're going to cover during the show, I did something different this week. So, on Top Music Attorney, it's the same across all social media platforms. It's just at Top Music Attorney. But on Instagram, I asked you guys a question in stories. And so I was like, hey, tell me, like, what's the number one problem that you're having related to your music career? Oh, and you know what? Come to think of it, how are we sounding? I'm just realizing. Oh, that's so funny. We did an audio check. I'm just realizing that my ears are in the wrong device. Am I sounding okay? Here, let me just. That's so weird. I heard you, Mr. Producer, on our check, but my ears are actually plugged into the computer. So, all right, we're just gonna go with it. Whatever. Hey, what's up? Sending lots of love. Okay, so in any case, I would ask you guys questions, and here's some of the things that you said back. Okay, so you had said as far as number one problems that you're having, how to land gigs. You're trying to figure out how to land gigs. This is what someone had said as a singer. And so I'm gonna kind of rapid fire go through these. If you are a singer, you have to define what it is you're trying to get gigs for, right? So do you have a band? Do you need to hire a band? Are you trying to do live shows? Are you trying to get hired to do top lines for other producers, right? So meaning, hey, here's the track, I need you to sing, and so I'll release the song. I mean, so you have to define what it is that you want when you say, oh, I'm gonna get gigs, okay? Next, someone had said, I need affordable mixing and mastering. So for those of you who are live on this chat, give me some recommendations of where you go through. Obviously, there are so many websites where you can go through and find mixing and mastering engineers. Kind of what I have done to date is usually reverse engineered. I find a song that I really like, and I like the way that it was mixed, and then I look up who it was, and then I reach out to that person. But it's very hit or miss, right? So you got to kind of, unfortunately, try out different people to figure out who's the best fit for your music. I swear, the mixing process for me is one of the most stressful things. Because at the point that I'm sending my song off to a mixer, it's pretty close to what I want. But obviously, need to get someone to kind of mix it and get some fresh ears on it. And inevitably, even with the best mixers, they're going to send you their own interpretation, right? They're going to send you a first mix, and it's always going to be something different than what you wanted. And for me, it's just so traumatizing, and I always really dislike the first few mixes that I hear. And, with some of the guys that I work with, they're so talented. So they're always amazing. But in any case, when it comes to finding someone, a couple different ways to do it. But if you have any recommendations in the chat, please let me know. I'll share those. Let's do another one. And I'm going to, as always, we like to roll a few things in the beginning. I think we'll do the music video because I'm still hot on my new song. So let's just watch it together. It's called Something in the Way. But anyway, let's say it one more. Someone had said, need help finding funding and like someone to take time to listen. So, I always go back to, okay, so let's say I have a check for $100,000 and I'm going to give it to you. Okay. You need funding. So tell me, what are you doing that justifies me giving you money as an investor or otherwise? Where are you at with your career? And am I essentially just pouring gas on the fire that's already existent with what you're doing? Or do you have nothing going on? You're not working your socials, you're not releasing music. So that's always the standpoint we have to look at and just be really honest and like, is our project at a place where we could take funding? Because guess what? There is a ton that you can do for free, to market yourself for free, to release music for free, okay? But when it comes time to actually take money, we want to do that when we're at a point that it's going to be like, hey, we're going to do a bunch of paid advertising because this song is doing really well organically. All right, so in any case, I have some more that we're going to hit, but why don't we just jump in? Okay, this is Something in the Way music video, and I am just loving this song. I know you guys are as well, so we're gonna run it. I'll be back, and we'll get into more things.
I'm telling myself tonight, I'ma feel this all tonight. There's just a full like old desires. Whenever you're gone, I just need your company. Need you on your knees. I wanna feel your touch forever. What I want is what you're gonna do. Run my fingers down your back and say you'll be mine just one more time. Loud the sound around. There's something in the way you lay me down. Something in the way you've made better. There's something in the way you make your sound. Something in the way and when you're kissing me, your lips taste of my passion. You can put your hands on me whenever you want. I just wanna be anywhere you are. I wanna feel your touch forever. What I want is what you're gonna do. Run my fingers down your back and say you'll be mine just one more time. Loud the sound around. There's something in the way you lay me down. Something in the way you've made better. There's something in the way you make your sound. Something in the way I came to. I nearly lost my mind to make you lead on the line, lead on the line, lead on the line. There's something in the There's something in the way.
I'd spit the illest rap verse on this. Well, I actually released an EP with some different versions and the instrumental. So if you want to do something, the instrumental, in fact, is on all music platforms. Just search Miss Krystle. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. So other than Bad Bunny, stealing vocals from girls, we'll talk about it all. Yeah, we have also the Weeknd. So Weeknd, he pops up every, once in a while. He's just one of the big artists that seems to be getting sued left, right, and center for copyright infringement. But this one's interesting because we have settlement. Now, obviously, when it comes to settlement, it's very hush hush. We're not going to talk about the terms, and that's just part of, what both sides agreed to. But I think typically it kind of makes someone look guilty, right? Why are we settling? Why are we paying them off, so to speak? So in any case, there is settlement in one of the lawsuits against The Weeknd. It's kind of an interesting case, and definitely something that producers in particular, if you're watching this, this is one that's going to be of interest to you. All right, so as a little hoorah, I'm so excited and I want to share. We had a cool win on the YouTube channel. We hit 21,000 subscribers today. Yay! So very excited about that. Thank you guys, everyone who watches this either live or later. I appreciate you being part of the community. You are the reason why I do this. All right, so what I want to do today is that we're going to kind of break up and go into a few artist topics, and I'll bring in that Orko so we can kind of chat about it, and then I'll do, some more hard-hitting stuff because this is the TMA Music Business School. And so this is a place where you can get some free help for your music career, and I like to dive into all the good stuff. Hey, cool. Thank you. So exciting. Yeah, and I know we're broadcasting right now on multiple platforms. Our home, our hub, so to speak, is Top Music Attorney on YouTube. And so make sure you join us there, subscribe so that you get notifications when we release videos and do all the things. All right, with that being said, I kind of want to bring in that Orko, and we're going to jump into newsy things and artist topics. So let's do this. Hey!
Shout out to the community. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like she said, make sure that you were joined us at Top Music Attorney. But, also we are on Instagram. Where else can you find us?
Yeah, it's Top Music Attorney across all social media platforms. Yeah, which is something I definitely recommend. Anyone who's doing it in the music business, make sure you have the same username everywhere so everyone can find you. Okay. All right,
I just wanted to tap on. So the song, I'm glad you played the video again today. It's been doing very well. You were talking about those remixes, that remix EP, and this isn't a plug, but just to remind you again how easy it is if you're an artist out there to make a remix EP with very little effort. So on our remix EP, you will find the original version. You will find a clean version because there's some curse words in there that we took out. You will find an instrumental version, which is really cool to have. And then because you can also have your lyrics on it. And so it'll play like a karaoke version. So that's just another little tip for that. And then we have a pitched up version and a pitched down version. So it's just the same kind of version, but they're either sped up or slowed down. And that's just another way to market your songs because those go very viral on like TikTok and stuff like that. So keep marketing your music.
Absolutely. All right, so I kind of want to jump into our artist topics first. So the first one we're going to kind of jump into is why you should not sign a record deal in 2023. And we're gonna break this into three main sections of what I've seen. Again, I am someone who has built music businesses, record labels, not just for myself, but for clients, for students. And this is what I see time and time again. Starting with number one, the reason why you should not sign with a record label in 2023 is because you don't have a business plan yet. So you might be thinking, oh, well, what do I need to do? I need to sit down and type up a big business plan. What I'm talking about when I say that is not necessarily a traditional business plan, but it's having a strategy for what you're going to do. So, for
Yeah.
example, that Orko, you came up in the music industry, you played in rock bands, played with all your heroes, and toured and did all the things. And, you notably will share that, maybe you didn't really reap the benefits of all those experiences. And why would that be?
Well, I mean, there wasn't any. What we thought we had was organization, and we were pretty organized, compared to a lot of bands maybe around town and stuff like that. But it wasn't actually until I met you when I learned what organization and what is kind of the work that needs to be put into things. When I truly realized what it kind of took. Yeah, no, it was a lot more just kind of loosey goosey with taking care of business, and I got to do a lot of cool shit, and like you said, like hang out with my heroes, but I didn't get the business side right, so I left a lot of money on the table. Not just me, the whole band left everything on the table, and just kind of assumptions of what you have of the music business because maybe of anecdotes or stories that you hear. When you actually learn about it, you find that it's not real. Like you can't just mail yourself your album and to get the poor man's copyright, or so it's just one of those things where the fun factor was definitely had, and I really wish I knew like a tenth of what I know now, literally since meeting you. That I would have just this shape that I would have been from having some kind of plan put together of just even releasing the music, submitting it to the right places and such, making sure that you're getting your money earned on everything. So
Yeah, so when we say you don't have a business plan yet, it's, having an actual idea of what you're doing, right? You're creating art. The baseline for most of us is that we just love the music in general. We want to make and create and connect with fans, but how do we do it so we can actually scale to six-figure businesses and beyond? Well, if you don't have a business plan of where you're going for, so having a point A and a point B, then you're just going to kind of find yourself lost a lot. And that happens, I feel, 99.9% of the time for artists who are just kind of wandering. And they might kind of put out a song arbitrarily, but they don't push
mm,
it. So they kind of fail on the marketing side, right? Or they put out a song that they didn't actually work on and get it to the quality that it needed to be. So it kind of fails on the quality side.
right.
And
That's a
then,
big one. That's a that's
sure.
that's a huge one that I see all the time is artists that will sacrifice on the mix. They'll sacrifice on taking that extra step of getting it mastered, and then they expect they're like, oh, but no, no, it's really good. Like you can't go by how it's mixed. Like my song is really good. And that's just not how people listen to music. You got to think about the stuff that you actually give a chance. And most of the times, if it sounds terrible, it might be hard to hear how cool that guitar lick was. If I can't even hear it, it's buried. Like, oh no, there's this cool part. Like you shouldn't have to explain your music as it's being played.
Yeah. Okay, so then when we kind of look into, we go, well, then what's the solution? It's kind of going back to the drawing board and really focusing on education, right, for yourself and seeing where the deficiencies are with your project. So you go, what am I doing? Where am I trying to get? And where do I need to educate myself on? Because there is a cost associated with the fact of what you don't know. Okay.
Mm,
The longer you still don't know that thing, you either have to pay someone else to do it or you pay in your time and that
that learning curve.
you lose another year of your career. You lose another year of your life. And so I know that's something that a lot of people feel. So why you should not sign a record deal in 2023 is because number one, if you don't have a business plan and you don't have a path that you are on as an artist, you aren't a good fit for a
Mm,
partner like a record label. So
mm,
they're not going to be able
mm,
to push you. They're not going to be able to do much with you because you're not doing it already, which then brings me to number two of why you should not sign with a record label in 2023. You don't have any negotiating power
mm.
yet. Okay. So going back to number one, if you aren't pushing and you are growing your own fan base, right? And you're working that email list and you're getting all of the numbers and so you can text all your fans, you're not doing anything to cultivate an asset, right? You are an asset that you are trying to sell. And people don't think about it like this. And so when it comes time to actually have a conversation with a label, because there are plenty of labels out in the world, if you want to go get a label deal, you probably can. But if you don't have any negotiating power, they will steamroll you 100% of the time.
For sure, for sure. Like, and that's something that we talk about a lot in this channel is like, you want to build up your worth so you have that negotiating power. Like, and don't just sign to the first, like, independent label or something that you haven't heard of, and then you're giving the next few years of your life away, because you're just excited to have a deal. You don't even know what's included in what a record label can even do, because you haven't even tried to learn any of that on your own, so you can, hold people accountable for these things.
All right. So, as we're trying to figure this out and figure it out for ourselves, we have to make sure we have an idea of what we're doing, where we're going, right? How we're going to do that. But then we need to remember that it's not smart to try to do a deal with a business like a record label or otherwise until we have something we can actually deliver and negotiate. So then that brings me to number 3. Well, there's nothing that you can't do for yourself. So when it comes to why you shouldn't get or sign a record deal in 2023, don't just give the farm for nothing, right? So think about what it is that a label is going to do for you. So for example, if I was going to sign that Orko and I said, I want to sign you, you're going to produce for my artists. And I'm going to sign you for, let's say, a 3-year deal. It's going to have some options to extend, this and that. And I'm going to give you, let's say, a $5,000 signing bonus. Is that exciting to you? Are you going to
No,
sign?
that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. No, like it's what, because the whole thing is when you're signing to a record label, it's because they're going to be able to do something for you. And I wouldn't want to sign like something that was like longer than a year anyway. Like, so I'm not looking to get into any like a multiple year thing, or something with tons of options, because I don't even know what the label can do for me. They say that they could promise me the world, but when you're in it, maybe they can't even. Maybe I'm the first dark pop producer that they've tried to work with, and it turns out that they actually don't really know what to do with dark pop. And so now I'm signed to this label, and I don't really know what to do, and I'm at the mercy of that for however many years, or how many different tracks I agreed on for whatever, or I have to switch everything that I'm doing.
Right. And so as you're looking at the opportunity of signing and what they can do for you, right, in the example, I go, well, you're going to make beats. Those are going to be given to artists for
Mhm.
artists to use. Well, then why do you need a label to do that? Right. So I always go to, you could literally become your own label, right? You could build yourself as a music business, go straight to the artist, come up with label services so that you can help them, sell them songs, upsell them with additional
Mhm.
things like EPs and albums. So my focus on this is that there is this huge desire to get signed to a record label, which I have no problem with. I understand. But where I'm coming from with this is that even if that's ultimately the goal, and you do want to sign, and you understand that the label is going to take ownership of your songs, and that's just kind of how it works, that's fine. But remember that if you don't have a business plan for your career and what you're doing, you have no negotiating power because you have no following, you're not posting, you're not releasing music, then what do you expect to happen? Either A, no one's going to pay attention to you, which is not what any of us want, right? Or B, they are going to see potential and they are going to take advantage of you. And so in the meantime, I go back to, well, there's nothing that you can't do for yourself. So stop waiting. You can take action now and you can train yourself and teach yourself on what you need to do so you can actually get yourself to the next level, and you'll realize you might not need the label after all.
For sure, there's nothing that you can do that the label can do that you can't do for yourself on some level, to at the point where you're at least building up enough leverage to cut a real deal. I mean, you got to think about it. It's like it's never been easier for artists to not only get their music on Spotify and Pandora, or even getting your music pitched. You could pitch your music to Sirius, and you can get your music played there. You have the opportunity to control the music when you release it, what you can do with it. Your audience that you're building on Instagram is motivated by your work ethic and how much time and commitment that you're willing to put into your product, which the label is going to make you do anyway. So it's not like and you're going to have to do it if you're not used to that kind of thing, and you're not in a position where you have a huge social media following. Now the label is going to dictate to you the kind of content and try to help you find your audience, which might be a really annoying thing for you because it's not going to be your authentic self that you have been building. When you have fans, you have leverage, and that's just so important, and you want to get ahead of it, because If you don't have a strong work ethic, you're going to fail at this anyway. All of it is depending on you. They want you to have your song ready. They want you to have it mixed. They want to have it mastered. In some cases, they will take it and they will remix it if they really believe in you. But most of the time, they want you to be all ready to go. You have a following, you have experience, you have a song that went viral on your own, you understand how social media works. So if you're already doing all that work, and remind yourself, you're not getting paid extra to put in that time to make the social media content to make your song get promoted. So you're essentially working for the label for free when you're doing that stuff, because they're going to collect it, but you're not getting paid by the hour of the content that it takes to make. So you might as well be doing it for yourself, keeping all the revenue for yourself and all the benefits.
Got it. Okay, so let's move on. And I kind of want to talk about, when is it time to give up on your music career? All right, so scenario one, you've been doing this for a couple of years and your social media just really is not doing well. It sucks. No one engages, no one likes it because your stuff isn't good. Well, that's what you tell yourself, okay? So let's talk about that. Is performance of social media indicative of whether you should give up on your music career? I would say no. And I would say no because obviously every social media platform has a different algorithm, and you have to train yourself as a marketer to figure out how to market yourself. And that takes time, and that's totally different than the skill of making music, than the skill of marketing, not making music, but actually performing the music live. All right, so for me, if you are getting down on yourself and you're saying it's time to give up because your social media kind of sucks, I disagree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's so many, social media and making music or being a musician are two different things. And always remember, hopefully you got into music because, I know for me, it wasn't something that I chose to do. It was something that I had to do. And so, if you're getting into the music business, music should be something that you have to do, like almost like it's all you know how to do. And so you can't, realizing that marketing and social media is a completely different animal that you're going to have to learn. And one thing does not, you know, there's nothing about them that are naturally working together. So you have to take the, it could be just because you have not taken the time to do it right. Are you, as much time as you have been putting into your craft of making music, are you learning different techniques for social media? Are you paying attention to social media and trying new things? Or are you just posting and promoting your album every 2 seconds, which is the same boring album cover? You're not trying any creative ways to do anything. You're just like, I post a picture of my thing and it says out now, and I get 2 likes, and one of them is really my other account and the other one is my like dad. And I was pissed last time because he didn't say anything.
Yeah, you can't read into numbers and understand that at the end of the day, all it's telling you is that you just haven't found the type of content to connect with the type of audience that's going to like your stuff. And for me, even just kind of learning that sharing stuff about my other parts of my life, right, not necessarily just music 100% of the time, allowed people to get to know me. And so they can get to know you. So I'd like to say your homework item is come up with 3 types of content that represents you. One of them probably should be music, obviously, if you are a musician, an artist, a producer. But then another piece of it could be something like, what's a hobby that you do, right? What's something that you're interested in? And so come up with 3 types of content and then come up with a schedule. And you'll be able to quickly figure out maybe where your deficiencies are and understand that the post not doing well doesn't mean it's time for you to give up. Okay,
Right.
so that's number
Right.
one.
Huge.
Number two, well, let's talk about your music quality. Your music quality really isn't that great and you know it. The mix isn't great. You don't get your stuff mastered. It's really not polished. You're just kind of doing it out of your bedroom. Your music quality sucks. It's not really getting that much better. So I think it's time for you to give up. Or at least that's what you're telling yourself. And what I would say is that, first of all, music quality is very subjective, right? And sometimes people love crappy quality music.
They lean into it. Lean into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like to have something sound really bad but good is like a real art. Like there's some fantastic stuff that sounds like it was produced in a trash can, but it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I think that when it comes to, I was talking with an artist the other day and he was saying he's always working on trying to improve his production and the actual quality of the music. And that's great. But
Mm.
you are going to learn the most, the quickest by actually doing the thing, right? So don't hold yourself back by not releasing stuff, right? Do it. And every time you do a new song, every time you produce or mix or master or sing, every time you work your craft, you're going to get better. And people will go along with you during that journey because they'll be a part of it. So don't be fearful or think that because maybe the quality isn't quite where it needs to be, or someone's just told you that, might not be true, that somehow it means that it's time to give up. Okay? Which then brings me to number 3. It's time to give up because you're too old. No one's going to pay attention to what you're doing. It's all over for you. Didn't you know that the cutoff was age 18 or whatever you're telling yourself? And I'm going to disagree with all of that. When it comes to your age, first of all, it doesn't matter as it relates to what you're doing. If you are a producer, it's even easier for you, right? Because you're the behind the scenes person. But let's say you're a lead singer. To say that you, by the way that you look, by the way that, your age is, things like weight, like any of that's going to impact ultimately your ability to connect with people who care. That comes with you actually sharing, basically like opening your heart, which is what music is all about. And we've seen the most prolific artists emerge at various times of their lives, right? They might be young. And a lot of us know a lot of young artists, but they also might be older. And so you can't discount the value that you bring into the world by sharing your craft. What do you think?
Oh no, for sure. And the thing of it is, I say this all the time. It's not like the '90s anymore. It's not the early 2000s. With the fact that we have social media and everybody has a platform now, you're seeing celebrities of all ages, of all sizes, of all belief structures. You're seeing, people that are beautiful and people that are not so beautiful, and everything in between, having millions of followers that they're building based on the content that they create, the information that they're giving out, the music that they're making. And so I think people, and especially because of these talent shows that happen as well, people are just looking for talented artists or music that connects, or a message, or somebody that they can identify is like them and going through the same stuff. And that was to your point earlier about, when you're creating the content and you're showing those other sides of yourself. It doesn't have to be your deepest, darkest personal secrets, but it could be stuff that you're really into, that you're trying to find like-minded people. And that's all that we're all kind of, as just people, looking for, just kind of like-minded people in a community that we can just kind of, feel comfortable with.
Love it. All right. So then when it comes to, is it time to give up on yourself, on your music career, on your goals? Well, you don't have the time. And I can tell you that for many artists, I hear this as a primary reason why they are not successful, why they are not moving themselves forward. They just don't have the time. So if you don't have the time, you should just give up. Or at least that's what you're telling yourself. Now, for me, there are only 24 hours in a day. We all kind of operate kind of at capacity, right? People are demanding our time, family and friends, whether it's social, whether it's work, whether we just want to relax
Mhm.
and watch some TV. There are only so many hours in the day. And so for me, this is not a needle mover. I have artists that I work with who are parents, right? Who
Mm.
have full time jobs, and the only time that they can work on their careers are at the crack of dawn at 4 or
Yep.
5 a.m. or super late after their shift. And so, what I'm finding is that in order for you to carve out the time, you have to first make the decision that you won't make the excuse and you won't allow yourself to rely on that excuse because, look, that feels pretty good. I'm tired. I had a
Right.
long day. I just took care of the kids. I had to walk the dogs, and I don't have time to work on my craft. And so if you give yourself that excuse, then you're going to not only break a promise to yourself in that you were going to work on your career, you were going to move things forward, but you will continue to reaffirm that failure, which is something that's just in your mind.
Yeah, no, that is a huge one that I hear. And I think, and it's funny, and it's like when I start talking to, some of the students and stuff, when I have chats with them, though I'm like, were they not finding time? And I'm like, well, let me know what your day is, and then, they go to work or they, take care of kids or whatever. And then, they'll say something like, I was like, well, you don't do anything, what do you do to kind of relax and decompress? Well, I like to play Call of Duty. I watch, Netflix and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I thought you didn't have time. You know what I mean? Like you have a lot of time to play video games and to do, watch like, binge watch, 3 hours of Netflix, but you don't have time to just, get in the studio and have an idea just to, anything. And I find that, we choose what we want to spend our time on. In I think that it's if music is not something that you find a passion about, like I said earlier, like it is something that called to me. It was something that I had to do. Um, so like if you don't have that feeling, maybe that is a reason why you should quit. Because if you can't even eh, find it in yourself to make it a priority in your life, as opposed to I'm just gonna play video games. And unless you're playing on a stream, like a Twitch stream where you're making money on playing video games, like for me, video games are a waste of time. If you're not making some revenue from it, or you're not like you're literally just wasting time is money. And you're literally just kind of wasting your money or wasting your time just not doing something that's trying to help benefit yourself, especially if it's a passion of yours. So called.
All right. So then number 5 on when is it time to give up on yourself and your music career? And it might be time to give up because you don't have money.
Ah,
Right? In order for you to get discovered, in order for anything to happen meaningfully, you need to get a big infusion of capital to run ads, to pay for your tours, to do all the things. And if you don't have that money, you can't
mm-mm.
succeed. So it's time to give up. Or at least that's what you tell yourself. And when it comes to I don't have money, that's going to fail every time for me because there are endless ways to promote yourself for free, to put out music for free or close to free, right? To do everything that you want to do, including barter for time. And I can share for me, when I was kind of 16, getting really into doing this myself and doing my music videos, I had no money. I had no way to pay for, people's time. But what I did is I would barter. What can I do? What value can I bring? Or otherwise just convincing them to work with me. And so you should never think that it's time to give up just because you might be low on cash or stressed about money, which is, unfortunately what a lot of us are dealing with.
Yeah, no, that's crazy talk. Like money is definitely important to think, but if this is something that you want to do, like it shouldn't hold you back. Now, a perfect example for me, kind of like your story when kind of younger, when I was getting started, I was doing like electronica music slash industrial music. Like I really wanted to be like the prodigy when I was like younger, and so, but I didn't have any synths. I didn't even have a computer that could make music. So my big advice is just networking, meeting people, and just constantly out there. So like that doesn't cost you anything to go out and just kind of talk to people, or especially with social media, you can DM people and just talk to them. And then I started working with people that did have equipment, and then you just kind of just start getting in there and kind of you could borrow things, you collab with other people. There's ways to get it going so you can, get yourself moving. And with promotion and TikTok, you can literally just go outside and shoot something with your cell phone and upload it, and could go super viral. You don't even have to have a song or production. You can go viral if you have a vocal melody, if you're a singer, and just going ooh, like something something something, and you're like in this park or something, and then you got 300,000 views on it, and everybody's wanting to hear that song. Or somebody will you hit, remix this or put this in your beat, and you're just singing an acapella. Same thing with producers. Producer can sit there on a table with a couple of pins and make a beat on a table, and that video can go viral. Like there's all kinds of things you do. There's just not an excuse anymore. You don't need some fancy guy to record you in a studio and charge you all your money anymore. People are literally making, Steve Lacy from the internet, and I think he won a Grammy. He had one of the biggest songs, that Bad Habits. Like this guy records on his iPhone, and then he takes his iPhone and he dumps the files into a studio and stuff, and that's how it happens. Like you can do it. So I wouldn't. Money is not a factor. You can to get you started to where you're earning money now to pay for it.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, never give up on yourself. And, whenever people are like, I'm going to give this a year, and if it doesn't work out, I'm not a huge star by then, I'm throwing in the towel. Well, that just tells me you weren't ready for this lifestyle anyway. This is an entrepreneurial journey. You're going to build this thing from scratch. You're going to figure it out. You have to learn all the things along the way, from marketing to music distribution and how to do cover art and how to make
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
videos. So keep that in mind and don't give up on yourself. Okay, so let's jump into some news stories. What do you say?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Bad Bunny is being sued by his ex-girlfriend. Now, listen up, artists and producers, okay? Because this definitely impacts you and what you're doing in the music industry. So, as we kind of expose the music business, let's talk about it. So, Bad Bunny's ex-girlfriend is suing him for $40 million. So, what happened is, she's recording, and I think, what was the line? Bad Bunny
Bad Bunny
Baby.
baby. Yeah.
She records Bad Bunny Baby into her phone. Okay. She sends that to Bad Bunny. He ends up using it in 2 of his songs. Now, from what I'm reading, and according to the complaint, he had asked to actually sample, right, to license what she had sent to him for $2,000.
Right.
Okay. She didn't agree, and he ended up using it anyway. So now she's suing him for the unauthorized use, which is copyright infringement, but actually she's going after it because it's her voice, right? It's her name and likeness. Okay. So as I'm kind of looking at this, I go, oh, this is a spicy one.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, because we have an artist with deep pockets. He's one of the largest stars right now, not just with Latin music, but in general, right? So he has pockets. We can get in there. We can get paid. And it sounds like he, in fact, did violate her publicity rights, potentially her copyright. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean he asked her to go and do it. She went and did it. You know what I mean? Like they went to her and they said, hey, they tried on a couple different occasions. So like I guess they started dating in 2011 and then eventually they ended in 2017 after some on again, off again stuff. Because Bad Bunny got signed and then De La Cruz, went to law school. So maybe that helped influence what she's doing as she's learning about loss and what I mean, like the
Interesting. So
music
De La
business.
Cruz, Carlis De La Cruz Hernandez, that's her full name. Go ahead.
Yeah. So so it's just one of those things where I guess I get it. Like her voice is the first thing that you hear on a couple of songs that have gone insane. And it's going to be on the album. They know they needed to clear it. They didn't clear it and they did it anyway. When artists do that, they're just leaving themselves at such a risk.
Yeah, they are. So, guys, under US copyright law, as soon as you put your creative expression, which might be something as simple as Bad Bunny Baby, into a tangible medium, which would be in this case recording it to your phone, you have copyright in that audio file. So, the first layer of this is copyright infringement. Now, I understand that the actual lawsuit is in Puerto Rico, so they have different laws. But for those of you in the US, it's important that even if you get something simple as a recording on a phone, you have to get something in writing saying you own it, you have the right to use it in your song. But then there's an additional layer, which we're learning through this case. There are publicity rights attached to someone's voice and likeness. And so that's the basis of her complaint. She goes, you are using my voice, you didn't pay me, you're not crediting me, and now you owe me $40 million.
Yeah, no. So I mean, that's just a lesson learned for everybody out there. That if you're a producer, and because I mean, this is something that we tend to do all the time. Just hey, come over here real quick. I just need you to say something. I need a girl's voice on here. I need you to do something, and then it becomes a smash. And then she's just like, "Yo, I made something, whatever. I didn't, and he's just like, oh, but I mean, no, it's the whole song that did it. Like, you just came in real quick. I just had you say something. Like, what do you want? Here's $2,000 on something that has earned, $2 million on, or because of just whatever, and now that's become like his signature sound that he's playing at every show and stuff like that. And it's I get where people might be thinking that his ex-girlfriend, oh, she's greedy, like that's not cool or whatever. There could be a whole lot of other things that are behind her decision to pursue this. And now that she's learning the law, she's learning the rights. I don't know.
That could be the case. All right, so we'll be following this one. Don't take your girlfriend's vocal recording and use it without authorization. All right, moving on. All right, so we had promised to talk about this Weeknd story. All right, so the Weeknd gets sued very often, it seems like.
All the
And
time.
so in one of his cases, he's finally settled. Let me tell you what happened. And again, for producers, artists making music, listen up. This is definitely impacts you. So the Weeknd reached a settlement, and the songwriters, hopefully I say their names right, Sunil Fox and Henry Strange, these are two musicians who sued the Weeknd, Canadian pop star, and this was in 2021. They're claiming that his hit song Call Out My Name, which I think is one of his biggest songs all time,
Yeah.
had copied one of their songs. Now,
Vibe King.
where we care about, part of this is, well, did they have access, right? We always look at, with copyright infringement claims, did the defendant have access to even hear the song? And in this case, the plaintiffs are alleging yes. And in fact, they're saying, well, we sent it to one of your team
Right.
members.
Right.
Okay. And what happened from there?
So yeah, so Fox and Strange, they performed together as a group called Epicer, and they're saying that their guitar and their vocal hooks were used. They were saying that it was the minor key, that they're 6/8 in tempo, and just all the influences and stuff like that. But so that you could look at that and go, like, you're just kind of giving a generic kind of description of something like that. But what happened was they sent it to Eric White, which is one of the Weeknd's collaborators, and White said that he replied to them and said that that the Weeknd thought the song was fire. And then White later told him that the Weeknd listened to it, liked it, but hadn't done anything with the track. And then he emailed them again and saying that he was going to tell the Weeknd that his team had written the song rather than Fox and Strange, and they just don't want to say, hey, these guys wrote this, because the Weeknd doesn't know you. And so if you want to get this pitch to him, right, like, it's better if we say that we did it. And so, they were never credited. The Epicer was never credited for it, or asked for permission to use portions of the songs. And, the Weeknd has denied that it has infringed on anything, but nobody from the team is going, well, they got you on email. They got you saying, or your
But
team
they
saying
are
something.
settling. So on Friday, they
Right.
filed notice with the court saying, hey, court, we need 30 days. We're in settlement discussions. We need to
Right.
memorialize the terms. And, at the end of the day, that always makes the person who got sued look guilty, right?
Yeah.
Why would you settle? Which usually includes a payout, if there wasn't some truth to what they're saying. Now, when it comes to being the actual producer, right, I have producers who are really concerned about sending unreleased music around for
Sure.
pitching purposes, because they're like, someone might steal it. And that's the case. They do get their stuff stolen. So you can have the recipient sign an NDA, right? But always just document and be like, hey, John just released a song using this, guitar riff. That was my guitar riff.
Right.
So make sure to document as you go, and that's a really good way to protect yourself. But you can heighten it by actually having people sign NDAs. Now, it helps when it's the Weeknd. So I go back to, when we decide whether we want to sue someone and go through the headache, go through the legal expenses, which can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Can the person pay if we win? And so in this case, it sounds like they had a favorable outcome with informal resolution efforts, and they've decided to settle.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think there was definitely some truth to the story. Now I'm just speculating. We don't know, obviously, but I wonder what that looked like. It was just I wonder what it looked like for them like financially. If it was like, yo, I'll give you 50G, but to let this go away, or you could try to get 200 G's, but we're going to fight this out for 5 years and you're going to incur, lawyers fees and all kinds of stuff. And then you still might not win. So just take the 50 G's and let's, I don't know.
No, and I think that's wildly underestimating. So if they did inspire, let's say, some, portion of this hit song that's had hundreds of millions of streams and has made a lot of money, then no, I mean, the settlement could be in the millions of dollars. Now, it probably isn't, but, as far as how we think about this, something to keep in mind. So, word of the day. If you are a music producer, make sure you document who are you sending things to. Make sure everything is really clearly documented, at least in your email, so that if someone does steal your song, your ideas, you can pursue a copyright infringement claim.
How would you recommend people just labeling their emails? Like labeling their emails as they get them in, as far as like if you're a producer. So you should probably have, if you're a producer, like I wouldn't use your personal email. You should have a business email for yourself when you are sending things out and stuff. So all your, you can keep track a little bit easier and have separate folders, but everything that's coming in is related to your business or when you're sending out productions and stuff. And that includes like when you're signing up and getting new plugins, if you're a producer, or if you're in like all these companies, if you're just trying to get a new reverb plugin, you have to sign up to their website, you have to get their downloaders, you have to do all that. So like maybe even having a separate email just for when you're getting when you're sending out stuff, when you're signing up for mailing lists, and you don't do it from your business one, because the hardest thing is just keeping that email clutter free. And you'll end up, you could end up deleting or losing something that you needed that had some documentation of something you sent out.
Yeah, I would say, I no harm in what you're, suggesting, having a professional email, but it kind of doesn't matter. What does matter is that you don't delete the emails, right? So
I'm talking about from a clutter.
Gmail's like, hey, you're out of storage. You need to pay or delete your back catalog of emails. Keep that in mind. Don't delete emails. Just pay for the additional storage. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm going to move into my last business tip, but that Orko, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you guys, everybody, for being here. We are here every week. It looks like we're staying till Thursday do it on Thursday nights. So keep it coming. If you are watching from Facebook, if you're watching from LinkedIn, because we do broadcast everywhere else, make sure that you join us over here at Top Music Attorney. And I like doing plugs because she kind of misses them, I feel, sometimes. So, and then also make sure that you are joining us over on all social media platforms, Top Music Attorney. A lot of cool videos that we're dropping, a lot of fun shorts, a lot of reels. These TikToks have been crazy. A lot of stuff's going on. So yeah. And I'm out.
All right, guys. Yeah, let's get into it. All right. So let me see. I always do this, and I have no I don't run these beforehand, but I'm going to do my 5 minutes to see if I can make it. So this is my last kind of music business tip, and all of these are meant to help give you guys guidance as it relates to your music careers, your music businesses. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat as we go. Welcome to the TMA Music Business School. In this segment of Music Business Exposed, the question is, what's the worst deal an artist can make? Okay, so as an actual music attorney, I've been doing this for now 9 years, and I've personally built multiple six-figure music businesses, not just as an independent artist, but as a record label owner. And I've learned a lot along the way, okay? So since I'm doing these deals every day, then I can actually share with you what it looks like, and I kind of just want to jump into this. So when it comes to what the worst deal an artist can make looks like, number one, it's going to be a deal from someone you don't know. Okay? If someone you don't know approaches you and says, hey, let's do a deal together, you don't know them, you don't know the business, don't sign a contract. You want to always take time to get to know someone and be like, cool, would love to work with you. Let's kind of do something more casual before we sign the contract. And if they say no, I'm not going to work with you, I'm not going to help you until you sign the contract, then it's probably not a good fit. If someone wants to work with you and be invested in you, then they're going to put in the effort. Okay. Number two of what the worst deal an artist can make looks like, it's going to be a deal that's longer than 1 year. Okay. Sometimes you got to do deals that are longer than a year. But as a general rule of thumb, don't jump into bed with someone in a business relationship that's longer than a year, because if it doesn't work out and they don't do what they promised, and now you are signed with them, now you are stuck with them, make it as short as possible. A year is a lot less time than 3 years, especially when you're in a crappy relationship and in a crappy deal. Okay? Number 3, when it comes to what's the worst a deal an artist can make, it's going to be a deal that guarantees you nothing. And I say this because, funny enough, the far majority of contracts that I review at my law firm are usually not only one-sided, but they guarantee nothing to the artist, to the producer, to the music entrepreneur. And so if that's the case, for example, it's a management agreement, you don't know the manager, you've never worked with the manager wants to sign you for 5 years, and the manager's not saying they're going to do anything for you. And that's also what the contract says. This is not just management agreements, but it goes across the board. So you have to kind of pay attention to, what is the person just verbally telling you? What are they doing to kind of sell you on signing the contract? But then what does the actual contract say? If the actual contract doesn't say anything that the actual person or business is promising to you, that's a problem. Okay? So then when it comes back to the worst deal that an artist can make, it's going to be a deal that relies on someone else in order to make you a success. If you do a business deal with anyone, including a record label, if you're going to rely on the record label 100% to make you a big star, you've already failed. No one cares about your music career more than you. And so if you are not hustling with the same kind of veracity and dedication that you would hope from a business partner, then you've already failed before you start, because you only have one side putting in the effort. So think about that when it comes time to do any kind of deal. And then I will also add this, when it comes to the worst deals that artists make, it's going to be a deal that if nothing happens that was promised, would you regret doing the deal? Think about that. In however long it's going to take, you sign the contract. It was a 3-year contract. It's with a company you didn't know, but they sold you this big story. John, who owns the company, is the nicest guy. He says you're a big star. He's going to help you. You sign the contract. After the contract is done, John never did anything. And you couldn't get out of the contract because the contract said John just had to mentor you. Didn't say he really had to do anything. So you're stuck in that contract, hating life, very regretful. If you get through that whole thing, are you going to be in a position of regret? So that's sometimes what I encourage you to think about before you sign a deal. Because even, if it's like a 1-year deal, it's not really that big of a deal. If it goes, sideways, then maybe you should be more willing to move forward, even if you don't have all the other boxes checked. So when it comes to helping you with your music career, getting you to the next level, you're going to do deals. And I want you to keep those 5 points in mind so that you can avoid doing the worst deals, which absolutely happen over and over. And if you are looking for help with your music career, just DM me on Instagram at Top Music Attorney. Let me know what you're doing. I'll see how I can help. All right, going over to the chat. Hope you guys found that helpful. It's so funny. I set my timer and it never started. So I don't know who was keeping time, but how did I do? Oopsies. All right, so guys, speaking of social medias, we're having a lot of fun. I rolled out some things this week, but make sure you're following on Top Music Attorney. And of course, if you are working on your music career and you need help, just message me. Let me know what you're up to. Hey, what? Yes. Look at me. My best yet. I'm so pleased. All right. So anyway, if you are looking for help, just DM me on Instagram at Top Music Attorney. I hope you guys found this live stream helpful. We covered so much and we're trying to really jam pack these with a lot of tips for you guys. Talk about what's going on in the music business. You can learn through other people's mistakes and experiences. Be sure to come and join us on Top Music Attorney YouTube. Subscribe. Like this video. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. I love your faces, and I think we're going to run something in the way music video one more time for Good luck, but I'll be in the chat and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
I'm telling myself tonight, I'ma feel the soul tonight. There's just a full like old desires. Whenever you're gone, I just need your company. Need you on your knees. I wanna feel your touch forever. What I want is what you're gonna do. Run my fingers down your back and slide. You'll be mine just one more time. Loud, the sound around. There's something in the way you lay me down. Something in the way you make better. There's something in the way you make your sound. Something in the way And when you're kissing me, your lips taste of my passion. You can put your hands on me whenever you want. I just wanna be anywhere you are. I wanna feel your touch forever. What I want is what you're gonna do. Run my fingers down your back and slide. You'll be mine just one more time. Loud, the sound around. There's something in the way